I clicked the button and nothing happened. Hi, hello, what's up? Welcome to the RollPlay Patreon Q&A here for March/April as we, why did we cancel last month? I forgot, Adam. Something was happening. I think video
It was
games
a
were coming
video.
out.
There was like a video game. Yeah. It was
Yeah,
some kind of video game.
video games were out.
The whole concept of last month is completely lost on me now anyway, so
March
I
was
don't know.
absurd. It was a long one, I think, for everyone. So, but we still have 11 hours left in March. So be careful, everyone.
Yeah.
You never know what could happen. We're going to start this Q&A off with kind of a more public portion, and then we'll cut to a quick break, and that will become Patreon-only content. Although you can watch for free here on Twitch. The second part, you'll be able to watch only on Patreon in the VOD. We wanted to give a quick update on where Far Verona Season 2 is going. I think I'm going to let Adam kind of handle most of it, as he is kind of the figurehead for that show, and I'm kind of the man behind the scenes as the producer. I guess without further ado, Adam, take it away, and I'll jump in here and then if you have any comments or questions like that. I'll also be reading chat, as we will be taking kind of live questions, as some of this information is new to everyone. So you don't necessarily have to submit this through the Patreon Q&A feed. Just ask in the Twitch chat, and we'll do our best to answer it. So, Adam, take it away.
Yeah. So in the most recent episode of Far Verona, the final scene of that episode, we ended up talking about it after the show, and we came to the conclusion that nobody in the cast was happy with how the episode played out for various reasons. Now, we're no stranger to difficult situations. They come up in role playing. Sometimes role playing gets intense or difficult, or someone narrates something that didn't land the way that they had anticipated. We've seen it plenty of times throughout the years, and usually when something like that happens, we have the opportunity to discuss it on a break, or we take some time between episodes, and that means sometimes we need to correct or redo a scene. We've done this before, right? We saw it in season 1 of Far Verona. Usually that's enough to ensure that the cast continues to move forward and feels comfortable and safe exploring the stories that we're telling. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, we didn't put any safety measures in place to prevent that discomfort while it was occurring. In the past, we've had moments where players have butted heads or there's been an issue, and so we've taken a break, talked about it, and come back. But that didn't mean that there was anything in place to prevent that from happening in the moment while it was going on. And the way that scene in Far Verona shook out left the cast feeling uncomfortable with continuing. So as a result, we're going to be canceling future episodes of Far Verona Season 2 until we can work out what's next. This shouldn't affect anything that's going on in the faction turn. The faction turn will be continuing as usual. I'm going to be issuing new turn orders as soon as the faction turnover happens tomorrow. We're going to keep working on the various systems we've been working on for the next few weeks. Discord's going to stay active. Nothing ought to change for the foreseeable future for the faction turn. The big thing here, I think, for me, is recognizing that these kinds of situations can be avoided by implementing the right protocols. And for me, the biggest takeaway is that I wanted to apologize specifically for missing that integral step, right? Normally, it's something that we do at the beginning of a campaign. We talk about themes, we talk about lines and veils, we talk about safety protocols, but we didn't for Far Verona. And that's something that I regret. I regret missing that point. It's something that we usually do, and it just didn't happen. And this is the result. So for our existing shows, for Court of Swords and for other shows that we do going forward, we're rededicating ourselves to the safety of everybody at the table. And that includes me and the other players. We're going to be instituting the X card or a similar mechanism to help prevent in the moment discomfort, rather than just assuming that we can deal with it off screen on a break or after the episode. Right? It's going to allow us to continue telling the kinds of sometimes intense and sometimes difficult stories that we tell on roleplay, but in a way that is safer for everybody involved. I know that this has been something that has come up in the community forum. I've talked with some fans on the Discord and over email about it, and I really appreciate everybody's patience while we're sorting this out. I know it's hard to see the schedule come up and not have dates on it, not know what's going on, especially with a game like Far Verona, where everyone is so deeply invested in the universe that we've all built together. So thank you for your patience and for continuing to be a part of that Discord server, a part of the fandom, being a part of roleplay. Whether you're a fan of Far Verona or anything else. This has been an eye-opening experience for me specifically, And really a good indicator that, we just need to rededicate ourselves to making sure that the players and everyone involved are comfortable. So that's where we're at with Far Verona right now, because I know a lot of people were curious.
Yeah. And my 2 cents on that as well. I think I'll also apologize for kind of not having those safeguards in place. That does not fall purely on Adam as the producer and kind of head of role play. That stuff should have been implemented long ago. And it was something that honestly I had never considered. And so if there is a positive outcome for this type of event, is it was very eye opening and very revelatory in the fact that we need this type of stuff to be present for sure, as it makes a big difference, and it should always kind of be there so everyone feels safe and everyone can kind of make the story go where they want to, not necessarily where it shouldn't go or where they don't feel safe, because that's at the end of the day we want to promote a show where everyone's having fun, everyone wants to be there, everyone's having a great time, and not necessarily where people feel uncomfortable. That's not our goal whatsoever.
It's one of those things where it's really the only way to be able to safely engage in stories that might be like more adult or more scary or more difficult. And because you don't necessarily know what's going to be upsetting for yourself or for any other player at the table, having those kinds of things in place are definitely something that I'm going to be focusing on more in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My other follow-up kind of to what Adam was just talking about is please respect everyone's privacy. If players want to come out and talk about stuff, they will. Don't go into their chats and hound them or ask for their comments or anything like that. Let them talk about stuff if they want to talk about stuff. If they don't, then just kind of accept that. We're totally okay with whoever going out and saying whatever they want to in regards to the show. We had a very open conversation with everyone on the show about that. We're not trying to necessarily protect role play. We're trying to protect them in this matter. So be very careful about all of that and be very aware about all of that as well. That's the only thing we can ask of you guys is the community. The other thing is we're not sure what this means for Far Verona. This is the type of thing that happened very recently. It's not something we had planned for, and it's not something that I've thought about in terms of what's going to happen in the future. We're not sure if we revisit Far Verona down the line, if we do some sort of kind of one-off episodes with some of the other cast members, or if we just kind of move on from Far Verona. This was the second rendition of the show. I'm not sure about revisiting it for a third time, at least so soon, is the best course of action. But we're going to try to be as open as possible in regards to all of that stuff and figure out kind of the best course of action. But I think for my interest, and I think for Adam's interest, the faction turn is still going to keep raging forward and pushing forward. And we'll, probably try to tweak that and see if there's something else that we can do with the faction turn. Because I think a lot of people within the community do love that, regardless of the show. And to be honest, Adam would know this better. I'm sure behind the scenes it affects the show quite a lot. But the faction turn was so far ahead of the actual show in terms of time that it was kind of backfilling, so to speak, a lot of the history and a lot of the other actions that were coming up for the show. So we're going to try to figure out where the faction turn, ends up and what we want to do with that. But yeah, I don't know. Adam, is there anything else for you to comment on?
It's one of these things where, we could have delayed talking about this another 3 or 5 weeks and had more to say, but I wanted to get it out now so that, we had that, because every time a week would come, I would see in the Discord people like, well, what's going on with Far Verona? Like, I noticed it's not on the schedule. So we just wanted to make sure that everybody knew what was happening, what was going on right now, even if that means saying, we don't know what's next. Just this is where we're at right now.
Yeah. A lot of chatter right now about, what happened or what scene are they talking about specifically. It is the final scene right before the shoutouts of episode 18. The VOD is open. It's unedited. You can go back and watch the full scene so you guys can kind of figure out exactly what we're talking about without going too in depth here. So I don't know if there was any questions regarding Far Verona, but we're going to try to kind of get everything situated here at the start around Far Verona so that it's not constantly coming up throughout the rest of the Q&A, so that if we do put out information later on in the Q&A, it's accessible to everyone and not behind a Patreon paywall. So I'll run through this real quick. Adam, did you happen to see any questions regarding Far Verona specifically in these that were submitted?
Not anything that wasn't kind of covered in that initial. I know a couple of people had questions about why there wasn't a post show. The reason for that was that we were discussing off stream, and we were talking about what had happened in the episode, and working through what was going on. So that's one thing. Yeah, and then mostly just I saw a couple of people who were curious about what was going to happen, or like if we were on a break, or what was going on there. So hopefully that answers everybody's questions that were curious about that. Obviously there'll be more information coming. We'll have more things to say about it as we figure it out, but we want to make sure everybody was caught up.
Yeah. And I'll also say, me and Adam are both readily available on Twitter, and our own Discords, our own multiple places where you can get at us if you have a question. We're trying to be as open as possible about all this stuff. So if you do have a question or concern or anything like that, there's multiple ways to reach out at us. I think we both also have business emails that we quite frequently read. So if you do have any at all questions or commentary on any of that stuff, feel free to shoot us a message about that, because, again, we want to be as open as possible. So I think that's that. I don't think there was anything else question-wise that I saw in chat. I think most people are probably still a little bit shocked, as I think I am somewhat, because it's all very, very recent. It's only been 2 weeks since we kind of started to go down this path. So that is that, I guess. Adam, any final comments, any things like that before we take a quick break? We'll start the proper Q&A and bring Jesse Cox in.
No, I don't think so.
Cool. All right. That is that then. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys being here. And for now, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll continue on with the actual Patreon Q&A with Jesse Cox right after this. We'll see you guys in just a sec.